Martial Realm sign in. Jin Wee-kyung said, "You've had a really hard time. So, are things over at the Northern Plateau settled?" As he poured liquor into Wee Peng's cup, Wee Peng said, "Yes, there should be no issues for at least the next 10 years. The stabilization of the Northern Plateau, that was the reason Wee Peng had left the Jin estate for the last 4 months. They thought that in order for Jin Wee-kyung to become the true ruler over Shanxi, they needed to subjugate the mounted bandits of the plateau. After several months of secret and elaborate preparation, Wee Peng led the elites of the Jin family as their captain and formed the Jin Dragon Squad before venturing into the plateau." Wee Peng said, "Information is a scary thing. We were able to annihilate 5 large mounted bandit squads, and more than 10 bandit squads surrendered. If it weren't for the Hao clan, it would have taken much longer." Jin Wee-kyung said, "No matter how good the information is, it depends on how one uses it. The truly scary one here is Wal Hua. She's meant to go beyond just Shanxi." Wee Peng said, "But when thousands of nomads appeared in front of us after we accumulated fatigue from consecutive battles, I felt lightheaded." Jin Wee-kyung said, "Even you wouldn't be able to do much in that situation." Wee Peng said, "At that time, that's when the incident that I mentioned in the report I sent to you happened." He said to himself, "Are you guys from the Jin family?" Jin Wee-kyung said, "Timur and Genghis. You said they called themselves Khan, right?" Wee Peng said to himself, "Exactly. The rumors seem to have already spread to the plateau, and they know the relationship between the third young master and Sir Juk. He used basic Korean to tell us that he doesn't want to fight us. They even handed over a slew of treasures and furs so that we could get along well going forward." Jin Wee-kyung said, "That's what I'm curious about. Isn't it weird that they stood down just because of the fire?" Wee Peng said, "Oh, about that? That had bothered me too. But I was convinced they were sincere after they beat up the mounted bandits that were captured as prisoners. There were some bandits that were taught a severe lesson last winter. They were known as Black Death and Human Butcher. They were very notorious bandit chiefs in the plateau, but both were killed by Sir Juk with a single palm strike. Both Timur and Genghis were there when it happened." Jin Wee-kyung said, "What? Ah ha ha ha. All right, what happened with the Star Cloud Escort Agency?" Jin Wee-kyung said, "The matter was resolved after you left. As they said, just you lot wait and see." Wu Huangtae, who was the escort chief of that agency, bought off government officials and stole military supplies that were exposed, forcing them to flee with just pennies. It's now the Jin Family Escort Agency. They're currently traveling past Songshan into Hefei. Wee Peng said, "Songshan," and Jin Wee-kyung said, "Shaolin and Namgung. They're both pretty big, so I was going to be satisfied with just being able to talk about trading with them. But they actually suggested trading first. There were no reasons to reject them since the conditions were really good." Wee Peng said, "Sir Juk's presence alone has helped us greatly." As they finished multiple bottles of cheap wine, Jin Wee-kyung said, "And about the interim Jin Dragon Squad vice captain, this is his first mission, right? What do you think about him after observing him from the sidelines?" Wee Peng said, "The guy from the Hyuk family? Sigh. If I teach him personally, then he learns rather quickly. For someone who came in with connections, he's actually pretty decent." As he remembered what Hyuk Mujin said, Hey, Captain," Wee Peng said, except for the fact that he blabbers incessantly. Jin Wee-kyung said, "Oh, if you're saving that, then he must be a martial arts genius." "Ahaha, Jin Tai-kyung has good eyes for people indeed." Wee Peng took the paper and said, "But what are you drawing this time around?" Jin Wee-kyung said, "Ahem, I drew it thinking of Tai-kyung and Sir Juk who'd be coming back soon." Wee Peng opened the paper and looked at it. "It's not complete yet, but I have decided what its title will be." As Wee Peng was silent, Jin Wee-kyung said, "How is it? Aren't you curious about its title? You're dying to know, aren't you? What is it? Let's hear it." As he smiled and waited for Wee Peng's answer, he looked at the drawing of Jin Wee-kyung. Jin Wee-kyung said, "The entrance of the hidden dragon. We're in a different scene. Mount Guhua has always been a mountain famous for its spiritual energy. The whole mountain is filled with good energy, and so mountain ginseng, tuber fleece flower, and tonic herbs would naturally grow there. It's basically a gold mine for herb gatherers." An old man said, "Phew, darn it, did all the tonic herbs die off? I haven't seen even one for days." "Just you wait, I'll definitely find at least one of you today." He looked into the distance and said to himself, "Hang on, I heard that there's an evil spirit that lives on top and would burn anyone alive if they go up. But it was all fine up until the midpoint. Don't get scared now. I have 8 mouths to feed." Suddenly, Jin Tae-kyung said, "Hee." The man, shocked, cried and shouted, "The evil spirit," Jin Tae-kyung said with a creepy voice. "Hee, I'm human. Hee." The ugly man said, "Heek, please spare my life. I have children and a sick mother that's waiting for me back at home." Jin Tae-kyung said, Old man, you there. There aren't any 6,000-year herbs around this area, right? Jock Cheon-gang said. Why do you ask? Are you a herb gatherer? You've come to the wrong place. Don't waste your time anymore and go back. As Jin Tae-kyung was shocked, the ugly man said, A divine spirit, please help me. Jin Tae-kyung said, Bah ha ha ha. He just called you a divine spirit. Wasn't it about 3 months ago? I think you were about to become a spirit after forgetting what to do next while performing energy circulation. As Ji Keon-gang kicked Jin Tae-kyung away, the ugly old man said, The divine spirit defeated the evil spirit. As Jin Tae-kyung dropped to the ground, Jock Cheon-gang said, Divine spirit my ass. I've already gathered all the tonic herbs on Mount Gua, so there's no need to search for them anymore. It was pretty tiring plucking all of them. The ugly old man said, person. Does this mean that he's a herb gatherer too? Jin Tae-kyung said, What? It was hard plucking the heads of people? Jock Cheon-gang said, Breathe in, breathe out. As my ancestor has said, it's useless to feed disciples with tonic herbs. I guess they were right. As Jin Tae-kyung exhaled, Jock Cheon-gang said, What impudence? As the ugly old man said, A martial artist. He walked away, saying, Sigh. Guess I'm not finding anything today. As Jock Cheon-gang held a rock high, Jin Tae-kyung ran away and said, Mister, hang on. Would you like to maybe take this? As he showed a glowing ginseng, the ugly man said, What? Why are you giving that to me? Jin Tae-kyung said, You won't have anything if you just leave like that. You probably have a family to feed. Where are you from? I'm from Sichuan. Sichuan is a nice place. I studied really hard at night back then. Pardon? It's nothing. Please use this to help with your travel expenses since you came a long way. Thank you so much. Jock Cheon-gang said, That's not even much. Why would you give something like that? Jin Tae-kyung said, What? This is all that's left. A true man ought to be generous. If you're going to give him something, give him a silver nyang instead. But where would I get that? Aha, that's what you were talking about. As Jin Tae-kyung walked away, he shouted, Anyone want to buy mountain ginseng? As his voice echoed, Anyone want to buy mountain ginseng? Anyone want to buy mountain ginseng? Want to buy mountain ginseng? Suddenly people gathered. Namgung Ryong said, I'll buy it. 100 silver nyang. It's 100% silver nyang. 300 nyang. Since you're the richest man in Anhui, you can afford that, right? That's nothing compared to being able to deal with the Fire King. I'll buy it. May I know your name? I am Namgung Ryong, the patriarch of the Namgung family. At the Namgung family place. Jin Tae-kyung said to himself, The Namgung family, one of the 5 great families that rule over the world alongside the 10 great sects. They have more than 100 family members and thousands of members if they include the martial artists that they have under them. The ruler of Anhui, a huge support of the Murim that lives up to their name. Because of that, they had been on bad terms with Jock Cheon-gang, who took on a murderer who killed numerous innocent people in Anhui as his disciple. As Jin Tae-kyung and Jock Cheon-gang waited, Jin Tae-kyung said, It's the Heavenly Sword King, right? The person who came looking for you back then. Jock Cheon-gang said, Yes, he was the one who told me about the truth and did me a favor as well. I owe him a great debt. He said to himself, the day that Jock Cheon-gang couldn't kill Joe Peel and let him go. If the Heavenly Sword King had not stood down, Joe Peel wouldn't have been able to escape out of Anhui alive. What kind of person is he? I've only met him twice, but he is truly a person obsessed with the sword. Ah, an SCP. Yes, an SC. It means a sword. What is that? It has a good meaning. It means, had Kyung said to himself, he's pretty sharp. In any case, he's someone that's hard to understand. Because in return for sparing Jongchon's life, he wanted to have a spar with me. Jin Tae-kyung said to himself, a horrifying serial murder occurred in Anhui, yet as the ruler of Anhui, he let that murderer go because he wanted to spar. Truly an SCP. That duel, who won it? As Jin Tae-kyung and Jock Cheon-gang got serious, Jock Cheon-gang said, the next day after our spar, the Heavenly Sword King went into isolated training. Oh, as he gave a thumbs up to Jock Cheon-gang, Jock Cheon-gang said, it was just a small difference. However, that was already over 20 years ago. He must have gotten stronger. Although there was no guarantee I could win back then, it's even more so now. Come on, there's no need to be too worried. We're not here to fight anyway. We were just invited to the birthday feast of the Sword King. Birthday? He's someone who's capable of changing the date of his birthday multiple times. From the moment that we arrived at Mount Guhua, He must have placed someone to monitor us and waited for the moment that we came down the mountain. I'm guessing the only day that's important to him is the day that he dies, because he'd have no choice but to put down his sword at that time. Jin Tae-kyung said to himself, "What the hell? He's seriously crazy." As a person knocked on the door, a beautiful lady came inside and said, "The patriarch has requested to meet with you, Sir Jin." A few moments later, an ugly man said, "It can't be helped. A rule is a rule. You must surrender all your weapons. I get that you see these as weapons, but I can't take these off without the key." "Who has the key?" "Of course it's my master." As the other guards said, "Who's that beggar? Who's his master?" The bald guard said, "Shh, it's the Fire King." The ugly guard said, "Ahem, we'll have to cut them off then." Jin Tae-kyung sweated and said, "What? There are rules within the Namgung family. I'm sure Sir Jeek will understand." As he took out his sword, Jin Tae-kyung said, "Ho ho ho." As Jin Tae-kyung remembered what Jak Cheon-gang said, "I joined the fire-scorching clan at the age of 9. About 100 people started learning martial arts at that age, but right now, I'm the only one who's this strong." He said, "How did I got rid of those unorthodox bastards, those underworld guys, the demonic cult. I killed one of them. Every single, I doubt that'll happen. You'll really die if you do that. Please stop." The guard in fury said, "What did you just say? Wait, not by me. Do you know who I am?" "Forget it. Let him in." A few moments later, Jin Tae-kyung gets inside the room of Namgung Ryong. As he said, "I apologize for my son's misbehavior. He's my only child, so I spoiled him quite a bit, and thus he's still lacking in a lot of areas." Jin Tae-kyung said, "Pardon? Oh, I wondered why the youngest guy here was acting up so much. He's your son, huh? Well, that's fine. It's possible since he's still young." Namgung Ryong said, "Ho ho, but he still managed to become the sword dragon among the 10 phoenixes and dragons at that young age." Jin Tae-kyung said, "The 10 phoenixes and dragons? My second brother is one of them too." Namgung Ryong said, "I know. They had a big fight the moment my son entered the Heavenly Martial Arts Academy." Jin Tae-kyung said, "Goodness, they're just so young. Well, at that age, fighting is how they mature." Namgung Ryong said, "But they're older than you." As Jin Tae-kyung became serious, Jin Tae-kyung said, "I doubt you called me here because of your son, so why have you called me here?" Namgung Ryong said, "Oh, right. Ahem." Jin Tae-kyung said to himself, "Fool for his son." Namgung Ryong said, "I'll cut to the chase. Please dissuade Sir Juk for me." As Jin Tae-kyung became serious, and he said, "Is this because of his duel with your father, the Heavenly Sword King?" Namgung Ryong said, "Indeed. Do you know what happened between them 20+ years ago?" Jin Tae-kyung said, "I know it to a certain extent. I heard that my master won." Namgung Ryong said, "It was by a hair's difference. It was a really close match where either of them could have won. My father seems to be really upset by that day's defeat, because he went into isolated training for a few years after that, to wait for his opportunity to take revenge." Jin Tae-kyung said to himself, "If the son of the Heavenly Sword King is saying this, he must really want to fight again." Namgung Ryong said, "The problem is, if another fight takes place now, it'll definitely become an even more intense fight. If anything happens to either of them, I can't even imagine what kind of after effects that will bring about." As Jin Tae-kyung was silent, Jin Tae-kyung said, "I understand what you're saying, but I'm not confident I can dissuade my master. He's someone who'd rather die than stand down." Namgung Ryong slaps the table and said, "You didn't get what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying that you have to try your best to stop him. I'm saying that you must stop him." Jin Tae-kyung said, "You shouldn't have brought us here to the Namgung family in the first place then." Namgung Ryong said, "That's." Jin Tae-kyung said, "In any case, I'll try talking to him. Farewell." A few moments later, outside Jin Tae-kyung said, "Phew!" Suddenly the guard shouted at Jin Tae-kyung saying, "Bastard!" Jin Tae-kyung said, "What? Why do you keep talking in such a rude manner?" The guard said, "Move aside. I heard it all from out here. How dare you speak to my father so rudely? Do you think the great Namgung family is a joke?" Jin Tae-kyung said, "I wasn't being rude. I treated him with respect like I do with my master." The guard said, "How dare you spout such nonsense?" Jin Tae-kyung said, "I'm serious. If you don't believe it, you can ask my master personally." As he pulled it high, suddenly it went back and he sheathed it. As Jin Tae-kyung stepped on his pommel, The guard was confused, saying, "Huh? That sword. If you keep pulling it out like that, you'll live a short life." The guard sweated and said, "How did he do that?" "Young friend, you should act like a gentleman." As he tapped the shoulder of the guard, Jin Tae-kyung walked away, saying to the nice lady, "Is there a mountain nearby with not many people around?" "Pardon? Why do you ask?" "I was just thinking of catching a breather." A few moments later at the mountain. On the trail as it went deeper into the forest, Jin Tae-kyung stopped. He looked back and said, "You can come out now." The Heavenly Sword King said, "Cuckoo cuckoo." As he stepped out, Jin Tae-kyung sweated. Not bad at all. I pay my respects to you, Heavenly Sword King." "So then, why have you called me all the way here?" Jin Tae-kyung said, "I'm not sure what you mean." The Heavenly Sword King said, "Grand Patriarch Jock took in a rather snake-like bastard as a disciple in his later years. I know you came all the way here on purpose. No point in playing dumb. Was it that obvious? You're quite bold, or do you just not know fear? Tell me what you called me here for." Jin Tae-kyung sweated and said, "Fu," as he put his hands next to each other and kowtowed to the ground. He bowed his head and said, "Please reconsider the duel with Master." "Reconsider? Why should I do that?" "I cannot tell you the reason." "What?" As his energy raged, he said, "Say it." "I am sorry, but I cannot tell you the reason." "Say it." "I cannot." The Heavenly Sword King, in anger, stepped on the ground so hard that it made a hole and said, "You!" As his energy blew the wind towards Jin Tae-kyung, he said, "This is your last chance. Tell me." "I cannot." Suddenly, the Heavenly Sword King's energy stopped. He said, "Get up." "Yes, sir." "Do you know how long I've waited to duel again against Grand Patriarch Jock? 20 long years." "Then please wait just one more year." "I cannot tell you the reason in detail, but Master is not in a good physical condition right now. You didn't wait for 2 decades for an easy, unfair victory, did you?" "An easy, unfair victory? Ha 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 ha." "Grand Patriarch Jock raised you well. He'll be happy to hear that. But you look like you'll die young." As Jin Tae-kyung was silent and sweated, the Heavenly Sword King took out his sword and said, "You need at least the minimum of manners in order to survive in the Muram. 3 moves. If you endure 3 of my moves, then I will grant you your request." Ding! A system notification said, "Sudden quest, 3-move murder has appeared." Ding! A system notification said, "Will you accept the quest?" "Yes." "No," Jin Tae-kyung said to himself. 3 moves from the Heavenly Sword King. "Well, I accept. You're just displaying bravado. That will be your undoing." It might not, but can I get rid of these beforehand?" "Sure, it won't change the results." As he dropped his scabbard, Jin Tae-kyung's shackles were cut. "I'm ready. Emperor Sword Form, 6th Form, Imperial Wind Sweeping Technique. Can you withstand this?" As Jin Tae-kyung sweated and looked at the Heavenly Sword King, suddenly a flash appeared. In the distance, Jock Cheongang's power radiated. He concentrated his energy in his hand and formed an Olympic circle above him with his energy. He said, "Fu, come in." Jin Tae-kyung opened the door and said, "I thought you were meditating. How can I even focus when someone is loitering outside the door, pacing around?" "That's true." I should have just come in and watched you do the Olympics." "This isn't Olympics or whatever you just said, but the 5-chi harmonization." "Whatever it is, you know what I'm saying." "That mouth of yours. What did the Namgung Patriarch say?" That. Apparently the banquet was cancelled." "Cancelled? What do you mean?" Apparently the Heavenly Sword King is canceling it." "He is?" "Apparently he had some kind of epiphany or something. Anyway, it's cancelled." An epiphany. The Heavenly Sword King, who's been waiting 20 years for this day, suddenly had an epiphany on this day of all days. What an inconvenience. Maybe he got scared and backed out. Kiki, well, it's a good thing. It's not good nor bad. The day was just pushed back. But we stalled some time. Why? Did you think I was gonna lose? Huh? Gnawing as if. It's just that if you were to win, you wouldn't really be winning considering the situation. Not winning despite winning. He said to himself, he's right. If I take any internal injuries in a duel with him, the essence, chi, and spirit I had put in balance would fall apart. As Jok Cheongang exhaled and said, "Who? Let's go." "Where to?" Jok Cheongang opened the door and said, "Hanam, there's no reason for the Namgung clan to keep us here, and we have no reason to stay here, so we shall leave." I'm fine with leaving, but can I take a bath before we do? I have so much dead skin on me that it feels heavy." "What? Don't act like you suddenly care about hygiene. Go get some travel money instead." I assume they give us a bath even if we're not welcome here. Now you're having me rip off money from them? What? You haven't had a good beating lately, huh? Shh! I'm going. As Jin Tae-kyung ran quickly, Jak Cheon-gang watched the floor get holes from Jin Tae-kyung's chain and balls. That bastard! He's done something I didn't even ask him to do. As the sun set, the Heavenly Sword King silently stood and said to himself, I thought that one move would be enough. I used only 2-star power at first to try to teach him a lesson. Then I used 3-star and then 6-star. However, Jin Tae-kyung smiled and said, 3 moves. We're done, right? Thanks for going easy on me, approximately. As he held his huge balls up, the Heavenly Sword King said, What great potential. Did they leave? Namgung Ryong said, Yes, they left 10 hours ago. Where are they going? To Hanam. Apparently they will be attending the Great Celestial Banquet in a month. The Great Celestial Banquet? Oh, tell your son to not get involved with the Great Celestial Banquet this year. Thanks for tuning in. I truly appreciate each and every one of you who took the time to watch this video. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. If you enjoyed what you saw, consider sharing my videos or channel with your friends who might also enjoy it. Your support means the world to me and helps my channel grow. Let's keep this community thriving together. Until next time, see you in the next video.